Nestled in the countryside of sleepy Hampshire in the village of Selborne, a book was compiled in 1789 of a curate's observations of the wildlife in his back garden. The importance of the natural history and antiquities of Selborne cannot be overstated. White's writings inspired the works of Charles Darwin and earned him the title of the Father of Ecology. The book has been translated into 7 languages and is reportedly the 4th most published book in the English language after the Bible, Shakespeare and Pilgrim's Progress.
Hello, I'm Ronnie Davidson-Houston and I live here in Selborne in Gilbert White's own village because I made a bit of a speciality of playing Gilbert White as a result of publishing an edition of his book and having been very involved in it right throughout my life. How's the hair looking?
So Ronnie, how many editions of this book do you own?
Well, it's impossible to say, really, because the difference between edition, impression, reprint is very vague. Although the collection, which is now in the Wakes, has about 1,100 copies. It just began rather gently and slowly, and then, rather like stamp collecting or whatever, the mania overtook me, and I decided that I would try to track down as many as possible.
What's your favourite piece in the collection and what's the story behind it?
The true prize of the collection turned up when a Swedish author came to the Wakes here, and he said, as many people had said to me, and this was quite a few years ago, he said, how many copies have you got, how many are you still looking for? Anyway, I said, well, there is one edition that I really despair of getting, was a little German translation which appeared in 1792 while Gilbert White was still alive, although he never actually knew about it. It was a pirated edition. And it was called White's Beiträge zur Naturgeschichte von England. There's no copy in the British Library. There's a copy in John Ryland's library in Manchester. And I said, well, that's one copy I never expect to get. So, off he goes back to Sweden, and literally within about a couple of weeks, I got a telephone call from him that said, oh, that book you're looking for, there's a dealer in Prague who's got a book on his list. So I, incredibly excited, and got in touch with this dealer, and sure enough, here was this little book. And great anxiety, I sent off some money to Prague, and this little book appeared in the post. The author, translator, came from Göttingen, but he was just a hack publisher of all sorts of stuff, and in fact it's a very selective, obviously very cut down version of the book, and a lot of it is the author's own criticism of Gilbert White. so it is by no means I don't think Gilbert White would have liked it if he had known about it, apart from the fact that he hadn't got any payment or royalties for it, but also that it was really not of the quality of scholarship and things that he'd have appreciated.
Is that why it appeals to people like you, the collectors?
It appeals to collectors, because it is so rare, and because it's so different.
Why do you think this book is so popular and read by such a large audience?
It's popular because natural history books were considered scientific tomes, and there wasn't that much very original in them being published at the time. What Gilbert White did was that because he was not a scientist, but he was a keen observer of nature, and this was the originality of it, that he didn't believe everything he read. he would go out observing things, looking for proof himself that, for instance, swallows did migrate, and discovering things like the harvest mouse, the noctule bat, and making some original observations.
So, Ronnie, we all want to know, when did you first start playing Gilbert White?
Oh, well, the first outing was in 2008, and so not all that long ago, but it was really just something that grew out of my interest, and eventually I was asked to be part of an entertainment by some friends of mine in Sussex here. So I got up, got a costume together, and gave reading of choice extracts from the book. And then I did it a couple of times in a little theatre in London, the Jermyn Street Theatre. And I've done it once or twice at the wakes here. And in fact, whenever I'm asked to appear as Gilbert White, out comes the costume, and there I am.
Could you end on a reading, please?
A neighbour of mine, who is said to have a nice ear, remarks that the owls about this village hoot in 3 different keys: in G flat or F sharp, in B flat and A flat. He heard 2 hooting to each other, the one in A flat and the other in B flat. Query: do these different notes proceed from different species, or only from various individuals? The same person finds upon trial that the note of the cuckoo, of which we have but one species, varies in different individuals. For about Selborne Wood, he found they were mostly in D. He heard 2 sing together, the one in D, the other in D sharp, who made a disagreeable concert.